All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the massive structural shifts in data center networking that are absolutely required to keep modern AI workloads alive. We're talking about going from the bottleneck-prone legacy networks of the past straight into the highly deterministic AI-ready fabrics of today.
And we are just thrilled to welcome you back to part 2 of this really comprehensive 12-part tutorial series. This is all brought to us by Virtualization Options LLC, which is a premier Colorado-based technology research, education, and advisory organization. For this specific explainer, we're focusing exclusively on the contents of Chapter 2 of their guide, charting that critical evolution from legacy hardware right up to the spine leaf revolution.
So here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll hit the Clos breakthrough, spine leaf topology, scaling the fabric, and finally, the open networking shift. Let's get to it. Starting with Section 1, the Clos breakthrough, which is really networking's mathematical foundation.
You know what's genuinely wild? The bleeding-edge AI networks we rely on today actually stem from a mathematical breakthrough from way back in 1953. Working on telephone switching networks, Bell Labs engineer Charles Clos mathematically proved that a multi-stage interconnection fabric could achieve non-blocking performance. We basically take that 1953 math and combine it with the massive open-source software shifts of the last decade. Specifically, I mean Facebook launching the Open Compute project back in 2011, and then Microsoft open-sourcing the Sonic Network operating system in 2016.
Moving right along to Section 2, spine leaf topology, or what we can essentially call the end of the three-tier crisis. This topology right here, it's an absolute game changer. Listen, if you've ever wrestled with the legacy three-tier model and the spanning tree protocol, you know the absolute headache of having half of your really expensive physical bandwidth forced into a standby state. It's just sitting there, permanently unusable to prevent network loops. But a spine leaf topology is a two-tier implementation where every single leaf switch connects to every single spine switch. No leaf connects to another leaf, and no spine connects to another spine. And because of this beautifully fully meshed pattern, it eliminates blocked links entirely. All your physical bandwidth is actively load balanced using equal cost multipath, or ECMP routing, meaning you finally get to use all the hardware you actually paid for.
And the real operational superpower of this architecture is its deterministic hop count. In a two-tiered closed fabric, any server can reach any other server in exactly 2 predictable deterministic hops. That's it. First, it goes from its local leaf switch up to a spine switch. Second, from that spine switch down to the destination leaf switch and right into the server. This bounded latency is fundamentally different from the unpredictable variable path lengths we saw in older designs. And for the highly synchronized collective communication patterns of AI training workloads, that determinism isn't just a nice-to-have, it's an absolute architectural requirement.
All right, Section 3, scaling the fabric, from individual racks all the way to hyperscale. This linear scalability model is frankly beautiful because it replaces the old method of incredibly complex, disruptive forklift upgrades with a super straightforward mathematical formula. Need more server capacity? Just add leaf switches. That increases your server port count without changing a single thing in the spine layer. On the flip side, if you need more speed between your existing servers, you add spine switches. That bumps up your total bisection bandwidth without touching any of your leaf configurations. It's brilliant because it lets IT teams match their capital expenditure directly to their incremental workload requirements. No more massive, wasteful forklift upgrades. 4. Just 4 hops. That is the absolute maximum hop count when we push this architecture to its physical limits. When hyperscalers, think Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, when they need to connect hundreds of thousands of servers, they naturally run out of ports on standard spine switches. So they introduce a third tier, which they call a super spine. This connects multiple pods of spine leaf fabrics together. The hop count increases to exactly 4, leaf, up to superspine, back down to spine, and down to the destination leaf. But crucially, it completely preserves the non-blocking mathematics of Clos's original 1953 design. Now, check out the stark contrast in how we design for different workloads here. For general-purpose compute, we know not every server is transmitting at the exact same time, right? So a 3-to-1 oversubscription ratio has become the cost-optimized industry standard. It saves a ton of money on hardware. But AI training completely breaks that assumption. During an all-reduce collective operation, literally every single GPU in a training cluster is transmitting and receiving simultaneously at near line rate. Because of that, for these specific workloads, a strict one-to-one non-blocking fabric is a mandatory requirement. You just cannot oversubscribe without starving your incredibly expensive GPUs.
Finally, we have Section 4, the open networking shift, where software finally meets merchant silicon.
So for most of networking history, switches were just these rigid, integrated appliances. The hardware, the operating system, the management, the support, it all came from a single vendor with bundled pricing, and that, of course, led to massive vendor lock-in. But then, in 2011, the Open Compute Project stepped in and essentially split the atom. They separated the hardware commodity, specifically merchant silicon ASICs from manufacturers like Broadcom, from the software differentiator. This disaggregation meant you could suddenly buy OCP standard bare metal hardware based purely on its performance and then run any compatible open source network OS on top of it. It shifted the entire value proposition straight toward operational flexibility.
And the software that basically became the poster child for this disaggregated movement is Microsoft's Sonic, software for open networking in the cloud. Sonic is a Linux-based operating system built completely on a containerized microservices architecture. So individual protocol daemons run as totally isolated Docker containers, and they communicate through a central Redis database called the Switch Abstraction Interface, or SAI. Practically speaking, this means you can perform independent component upgrades without having to reboot the whole switch. It's totally hardware agnostic, it runs on switches from over a dozen different vendors, and it powers massive portions of Azure and Google Cloud today.
So, wrapping your head around this incredible evolution from Charles Clos's theories all the way up to bare metal Sonic, it gives you the exact mental model you need to tackle the very real challenges of modern AI workloads. And again, a huge thank you to Virtualization Options LLC for providing the expertise driving Chapter 2 of this deep dive.
I'm going to leave you with this somewhat provocative thought. As AI continues to completely invert our traditional traffic models, making massive simultaneous bandwidth demands the new normal, if your legacy 3-to-1 network simply cannot handle those simultaneous AI training bursts, is it time to completely re-architect your oversubscription strategy? You have to ask yourself, are you actively designing for the one-to-one non-blocking future, or are you just waiting for the bottlenecks to emerge and stall your multi-million-dollar GPU clusters? Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and we will see you next time.